Welcome to Dread Time Stories, where the shadows whisper secrets and the night holds tales that chill the spine. Are you ready to dive into the darkness? Let's begin, if you dare. The night was dark, and the forest whispered secrets only the wind could understand. We were a group of 5, huddled around a flickering campfire, its flames casting eerie shadows on the towering trees. The air was thick with the scent of pine and the distant call of an owl. It was the perfect setting for tales of terror, or so we thought. As the hour grew late, a strange sound pierced the night. A whistle, haunting and melodic, echoing through the woods. It was unlike anything we had heard before. A tune both beautiful and sinister. We exchanged nervous glances, each wondering if the other had heard it too. The whistle seemed to dance on the breeze, growing louder, then softer, as if playing a game with our senses. Curiosity, that dreadful companion, urged us to investigate. We grabbed our flashlights and ventured into the forest, the beam of light barely cutting through the oppressive darkness. The whistle grew louder as we moved away from our campsite, a siren call leading us deeper into the unknown. Yet, as we drew closer to the source, whistle grew faint, almost a whisper. It was as if it mocked us, retreating just as we thought we had found it. We pressed on, driven by a mix of fear and fascination. The forest seemed to close in around us, the trees standing like silent sentinels, watching our every move. Suddenly, the whistle stopped. Silence enveloped us, heavy and suffocating. We stood frozen, hearts pounding in our chests, straining to hear anything in the oppressive quiet. Then, without warning, the whistle began again. This time behind us, soft and distant. We spun around, our flashlights revealing nothing but shadows. Panic set in as we realized the truth. The whistle grew louder when the ghost was far away, and quieter as it approached. It was a warning, cruel trick of sound that masked its deadly intent. We were not the hunters, but the hunted. In that moment of dreadful clarity, we ran, the forest a blur around us. The whistle followed, relentless and taunting. One by one, my friends vanished into the night, their screams swallowed by the darkness. I stumbled, falling to the forest floor, the whistle now a soft murmur in my ear. As I lay there, paralyzed by fear, I understood the ghost's terrible secret. Claimed its victims not with violence, but with the insidious promise of safety, luring them into its grasp with the deceptive comfort of distance. The whistle faded, leaving only silence and the chilling realization that I was alone. The forest stood still, a witness to my terror, as I waited for the ghost to claim its final prize. In the heart of the wilderness, where the trees stood like ancient guardians, we stumbled upon a cabin, forsaken and forgotten. Its weathered wood and sagging roof spoke of years untended, yet it beckoned us with a strange allure. We were weary hikers, seeking shelter from the encroaching night, and the cabin promised respite from the biting chill. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the scent of decay. Our flashlights flickered across the walls, revealing a series of paintings. Each canvas bore a grotesque visage, twisted and tormented, eyes wide with some unspeakable dread. We laughed, though uneasily, the absurdity of the artwork, mocking the artist's fevered imagination. As the fire crackled in the hearth, our laughter grew bold, echoing in the small space. We jested about the faces, their wild eyes seeming to follow us around the room. But as the night wore on, our mirth faded, replaced by an unsettling silence that crept into our bones. Sleep came fitfully, haunted by dreams of those painted eyes, watching, waiting. When dawn's first light crept through the windows, we awoke to a chilling discovery. The paintings were gone. In their place were windows, impossibly set into the walls, revealing the world outside. At first, we marveled at the transformation, thinking it some trick of the mind. But as we peered through the glass, our wonder turned to horror. Beyond the windows lay not the familiar forest, but a realm of shadows and shifting forms. Figures moved in the gloom, their shapes indistinct, yet undeniably menacing. Panic seized us as we realized the cabin's sinister secret. These were not windows to the outside world, portals to something far more malevolent. figures drew closer, their intentions clear in the way they reached for us, their hands pressing against the glass with a dreadful yearning. We scrambled to escape. The cabin held us fast, its walls closing in like a trap. The windows multiplied, surrounding us with visions of the encroaching darkness. Faces we had mocked were not mere paintings but warnings, their terror a reflection of our own impending doom. In that moment of despair, I understood the cabin's cruel design. It lured us with the promise of shelter, only to reveal its true nature. Prison of fear, where the watchers became the watched. As the shadows pressed closer, I felt the weight of inevitability. Cabin of windows had claimed us, and there was no escape from the horrors lurking beyond the glass. The summer sun hung high in the sky, casting its golden glow over the sprawling campground. Laughter and the sound of splashing water filled the air. My mind was elsewhere, drawn to a mystery that lay hidden beneath the surface of this seemingly idyllic place. It began when I stumbled upon a dusty box in the corner of the old storage shed. Inside were letters, yellowed with age, penned by a hand long vanished. They were addressed to no one in particular, signed only with the initials EM. Curiosity that gripped me was irresistible, and I found myself drawn into the tale they told. The letters spoke of a camper, a girl much like myself, who had once walked these very grounds. Her words were filled with joy and wonder, but as the pages turned, a darker story emerged. He wrote of strange occurrences, shadows that moved without cause, and whispers that seemed to emanate from the very walls of the cabin. Each letter grew more frantic, the girl's fear palpable in every stroke of the pen. She spoke of a presence, a malevolent spirit that haunted the camp, watching and waiting. Her warnings were clear, yet they had gone unheard, lost to time and neglect. As I read, a chill crept over me, the sun's warmth unable to dispel the growing dread. The final letter was the most haunting of all. It ended abruptly, with a plea for help, then nothing. Silence where words should have been. The girl had disappeared, swallowed by the camp's dark history, fate unknown. Yet her warnings lingered, testament to the terror she had faced. I felt her fear as if it were my own, the spirit's presence now palpable in the air around me. Night fell, casting long shadows across the camp. The laughter of my fellow campers seemed distant, a fragile barrier against the encroaching darkness. I clutched the letters tightly, their weight a reminder of the truth I had uncovered. The spirit was real, its malevolence undiminished by the passage of time. It lingered still, a silent watcher in the night, drawn to those who dared to uncover its secret. I knew then that the camp was not a place of refuge, but a trap. Beauty, mask for the horrors that lay beneath. As the wind whispered through the trees, I felt the spirit's gaze upon me, its intent clear. The letters had been a warning, chance to escape the fate that had befallen the girl before me. But it was too late. The spirit had found its next victim, and I was powerless to resist. The lost letters lay scattered at my feet, her warnings unheeded. The darkness closed in around me. The forest loomed around us, ancient and silent, as we made our way back to camp. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows that danced among the trees. It was then we saw her, girl, standing alone in the clearing, her figure bathed in the soft glow of twilight. She appeared lost, her eyes wide with a pleading innocence that tugged at our hearts. Her dress was old-fashioned, its fabric tattered and worn, yet she seemed untouched by the passage of time. We called out to her, and she beckoned us with a silent gesture, urging us to follow. Impelled by a mix of concern and curiosity, we trailed after her, deeper into the forest's embrace. The path twisted and turned, the underbrush growing denser with each step. The girl moved with an ethereal grace, her feet barely seeming to touch the ground. As night fell, the air grew cold, and a sense of unease settled over us. The girl's pace quickened, her form flitting between the trees like a phantom. We struggled to keep up, our breath misting in the chill air, our flashlights casting feeble beams that barely pierced the darkness. It was then we noticed the change. Forest, once familiar, now felt alien and foreboding. The girl stopped abruptly, turning to face us. Her eyes, once filled with innocence, now gleamed with a sinister light. A chill ran down my spine as I realized the truth. We had been ensnared in her ghostly game. The girl had been dead for years, a spirit bound to the woods, luring the unwary into her realm. Her laughter, soft and mocking, echoed through the trees, a haunting melody that sent shivers through my soul. We were trapped, lost in a world where time held no sway, and the living were mere playthings for the dead. Panic surged through us as we turned to flee, but the forest conspired against our escape. The trees closed ranks, their branches clawing at us like skeletal hands. The path we had followed was gone, swallowed by the shadows, leaving us to wander in a labyrinth of despair. The girl's laughter grew louder, a chorus of echoes that filled the night. We were caught in her web, ensnared by her spectral charm, and there was no escape from the fate she had woven for us. As the darkness pressed in, I understood the cruel truth of our plight. We had become part of the forest's legend, another tale of those who had vanished without a trace, led astray by the girl in the woods. And as her laughter faded into the night, I knew we were lost to the world, forever bound to her ghostly game. The campfire crackled, casting flickering shadows that danced like specters in the night. We sat in a circle, swapping stories and laughter, the woods around us alive with the sounds of nature. It was then that Mark, with a mischievous grin, unveiled his latest find, an antique doll, procured from a dusty stall at a flea market. The doll was a curious thing, with porcelain skin and eyes that seemed to follow you wherever you went. Its dress was faded, hair a tangled mess, yet it held an inexplicable allure. We passed it around, joking about its eerie appearance, but as the night deepened, our amusement waned. The fire burned low, and the forest grew quiet, a heavy silence settling over us. It was then I noticed it. The doll, once still, had shifted. Its head was turned ever so slightly, its eyes now fixed on me with an unsettling intensity. A chill crept down my spine as I leaned closer, my breath catching in my throat. The doll's lips, painted in a perpetual smile, began to move, whispering words too soft to comprehend. I strained to hear, voice a ghostly murmur that seemed to echo from a distant past. The whispers grew louder, weaving a tale of sorrow and despair. The doll spoke of its previous owner, a young girl whose life had been cut tragically short. Her spirit, bound to the doll, sought solace in sharing her story, a tale of love lost and dreams unfulfilled. As the doll's tale unfolded, the air grew colder, the darkness pressing in around us. My friends, oblivious to the doll's revelations, continued their chatter, but I was transfixed, caught in the grip of the spirit's lament. The doll's eyes glistened with unshed tears, its voice a haunting melody that tugged at my heart. I felt the weight of its sorrow, the burden of a life unlived, and a shiver of fear mingled with a pang of empathy. Suddenly, the whisper ceased, and the doll fell silent, its eyes dull and lifeless once more. I sat back, spell broken, yet the memory of the spirit's tale lingered, a shadow that clung to the edges of my mind. As dawn broke, casting its golden light over the camp, I knew the doll's presence had changed something within me. It was a reminder of the thin veil between the living and the dead, and the stories that bind us across the chasm of time. The haunted doll, its tragic secrets, had left its mark, a whisper of the past that would echo in my soul long after the campfire's embers had faded. The night was calm, the air crisp, the scent of pine and earth. Our campfire crackled softly, its warmth a welcome reprieve from the encroaching chill. We were a group of friends, bound by adventure and the allure of the wild, sharing stories beneath a canopy of stars. It was then we noticed it, a light flickering in the distance, dancing like a will-o'-the-wisp among the trees. It pulsed with an eerie rhythm, beckoning us with its mysterious allure. Curiosity, that insidious whisperer, urged us to investigate. Armed with flashlights and a sense of bravado, we ventured into the forest. Light our guiding star. The The woods closed in around us, shadows stretching like spectral fingers, but the light remained steadfast, drawing us ever closer. As we approached, the light revealed its source, an old, abandoned campsite, forgotten by time. The remnants of tents lay scattered, their fabric tattered and worn, while the ashes of a long-dead fire whispered of stories untold. An uneasy silence hung in the air, heavy with the weight of absence. We searched the site, our flashlights casting ghostly beams over the forlorn scene. There were no signs of life, no clues to the fate of those who had once called this place home. It was as if they had vanished into thin air, leaving only the flickering light as a testament to their existence. Chill crept over me, and I felt the forest watching, its ancient eyes bearing witness to our intrusion. The light, once a beacon, now seemed a warning, a spectral reminder of those who had come before us and disappeared without a trace. As we stood in the clearing, a sense of dread settled over us, a silent understanding that we were not alone. The light flickered once more, casting long shadows that danced like phantoms in the night. It was then I heard it. Faint whisper, carried on the wind, a voice from the past reaching out from the void. The voice spoke of a night much like this, of laughter and companionship, until the darkness claimed them one by one. Their fate was sealed by the light, trap set by the forest itself, ensnaring the unwary in its ghostly embrace. Panic surged through us, and we fled, forest a blur around us, the light a fading memory in the distant. As we reached the safety of our own camp, I glanced back, half expecting to see the light still flicker, a silent sentinel in the night. The forest stood silent, secrets buried beneath the weight of time. Yet the memory of the flickering light lingered, a haunting reminder of the thin line between the known and the unknown, and the mysteries that lie just beyond the reach of our understanding. The road stretched out before me, a ribbon of asphalt cutting through the desolate night. The hum of the engine was a comforting drone, companion to the solitude that enveloped me. The moon hung low in the sky, casting a pale glow over the landscape when I saw him, solitary figure, thumb outstretched, standing by the roadside. Compelled by a mix of curiosity and the camaraderie of the open road, I pulled over. The hitchhiker climbed in, his presence both unassuming and oddly familiar. He wore a worn jacket, his eyes shadowed beneath the brim of a faded cap. As we resumed our journey, spoke in a voice that was both calm and urgent. "There's a killer on the loose," he warned, his words hanging heavy in the air. "They say he strikes on nights like this, preying on the unwary." A chill crept over me, but I dismissed it as mere superstition. Tales spun to pass the time. Yet there was something in his gaze, a depth of knowledge that belied his simple appearance. We drove in silence, the road unfurling beneath us, his warning echoing in my mind. As we approached a small town, he asked to be let out. I obliged, watching as he disappeared into the shadows, his figure swallowed by the night. With a sense of unease, I continued on, the road now feeling longer and more foreboding. It was at a roadside diner, over a cup of coffee, that I heard the tale. The locals spoke in hushed tones of a hitchhiker who had died in a car accident years ago, on a night like this. They said his spirit lingered, warning travelers of dangers that lurked in the darkness. A shiver ran down my spine as I realized the truth. The hitchhiker I had picked up was not of this world, but a specter bound to the road, offering warnings from beyond the grave. His tale of the killer was not just a story, but a message from the other side. The night pressed in around me as I returned to my car, the weight of the hitchhiker's warning heavy on my mind. I drove on, rode a silent witness to the mysteries that lay just beyond the veil of the known. In the solitude of the night, I understood the hitchhiker's purpose, a guardian of the lost, a voice in the darkness, guiding the living with the wisdom of the dead. And as the miles slipped away beneath my wheels, I knew I would never forget the hitchhiker's warning, a haunting reminder of the thin line between this world and the next. The night was alive with the crackle of the campfire, its flames dancing in the cool evening air. We were a group of friends, drawn together by tales of a legendary fire that was said to grant wishes. The forest around us stood silent, a cathedral of trees bearing witness to our folly. As the fire burned bright, we shared stories, laughter, and dreamed. The legend spoke of a spirit bound to the flames, a force that could twist fate to its will. Skeptical yet intrigued, we each took turns voicing our desires, casting them into the fire's embrace. The first wish was innocent enough. A longing for lost love rekindled. The flames flared, casting shadows that seemed to whisper secret. But as the night wore on, the wish took a sinister turn. A figure emerged from the darkness, a specter of the past, its presence a mockery of what once was. The reunion was brief and brutal, leaving only heartache in its wake. Undeterred, another friend wished for wealth beyond measure. The fire blazed with an intensity that lit up the night, and soon the ground was littered with gold. But with the treasure came a curse, a swarm of creatures, drawn to the gleam, their eyes hungry and unforgiving. We fought them off, the night filled with cries of fear and desperation. Realization dawned upon us. The campfire's gift was a double-edged sword, each wish fulfilled at a terrible cost. Panic set in as we understood the true nature of the legend. The spirit of the fire was not benevolent, but a trickster, weaving our desires into a web of destruction. Desperation took hold as we tried to undo what had been done, but the fire's power was relentless. One by one, our wishes turned against us, each desire a harbinger of doom. The forest echoed with our struggle, flames a cruel spectator to our plight. In the chaos, I wished for escape, for the nightmare to end. The fire flickered, its light dimming as if in mockery. Ground beneath us shifted, earth opening up to swallow the cursed campfire whole. We were left in darkness, forest silent once more. We stumbled back to our tents, the weight of our folly heavy upon us. The legend of the cursed campfire was no mere tale, but a warning, a reminder of the dangers of unchecked desire. As dawn broke, we vowed never to speak of that night again, the memory of the fire's curse forever etched in our mind. And though the flames had died, their shadow lingered, a testament to the darkness that lies within the heart of man, waiting to be unleashed by a wish whispered to the night. The moon hung high, casting its silver light over the camp as we sat huddled around the fire. The night was still, save for the crackling of the flames and the distant call of an owl. Yet as the hour grew late, a sound pierced the silence, a howl, chilling and mournful, echoing through the forest. It was a sound that had haunted our nights, a spectral cry that stirred both fear and fascination. Each evening it returned, a reminder of the wilderness that surrounded us. Whispers of a wolf pack reached our ears, but there was something otherworldly in that howl, something that set it apart from any creature of flesh and blood. Driven by a mix of curiosity and bravado, I resolved to uncover the source of the midnight howl. Armed with only a flashlight and a sense of trepidation, I ventured into the woods, the path ahead swallowed by shadows. The forest was alive, the rustle of leaves and the whisper of the wind. My heart pounded in my chest as I followed the sound, each step drawing me deeper into the unknown. The howl came again, closer now, its eerie melody weaving through the trees. It was then I saw them, a pack of wolves, their eyes glowing like embers in the darkness. Yet there was something amiss, something that set my skin crawling. Their forms shimmered, as if caught between worlds, their howls a lament that spoke of ancient sorrows. As I watched, transfixed by the spectral pack, the leader turned its gaze upon me. Its eyes bore into mine, a knowing intelligence that defied explanation. The air grew cold, and I felt the weight of their gaze. A silent judgment passed upon my intrusion. Panic surged through me, and I turned to flee, forest a blur around me. The wolves gave chase, their forms gliding through the underbrush with an unnatural grace. The howl rose again, a chorus of voices that filled the night, urging me onward. Branches clawed at my skin, the ground treacherous beneath my feet, but I pressed on, driven by a primal fear. The wolves were relentless, their presence a shadow that clung to my every step. It was a chase that defied reason, a dance with the unknown that left me breathless and trembling. Finally, the edge of the camp came into view. The fire's glow, a beacon of safety. I stumbled into the clearing, the howls fading into the distance, leaving only the pounding of my heart and the whisper of the wind. The forest stood silent once more, its secrets hidden beneath the veil of night. The midnight howl was no mere call of the wild, but a reminder of the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding. And as I sat by the fire, the memory of the spectral wolves lingered, a haunting echo of the chase that would forever remain etched in my soul. Campfire flickered, casting a warm glow that danced upon our faces as we gathered close, sharing tales of terror and wonder beneath the star-strewn sky. Laughter mingled with the crackle of the flames, fragile barrier against the encroaching darkness. Yet, as the night deepened, a sense of unease crept into our circle. It was then I noticed it. A shadow, lurking just beyond the firelight, shifting among the trees. It moved with an unsettling grace, its form indistinct, a silhouette against the night. My heart quickened, chill running down my spine as I tried to shake off the feeling of being watched. Curiosity gnawed at me, and I rose, flashlight in hand, to confront the shadow that seemed to beckon from the forest's edge. My friends' voices faded into the background as I stepped beyond the circle of light, the night closing in around me. The forest was silent, save for the whisper of the wind through the leaves. The shadow loomed ahead, a dark presence that defied explanation. As I approached, it shifted, taking on a form that was both familiar and terrifying. Before me stood a manifestation of my darkest fear, a specter from the depths of my mind, brought to life by the shadow's malevolent power. Its eyes bore into mine, a reflection of my own insecurities, my failures, my regrets. I felt exposed, vulnerable, as if the shadow had peeled back the layers of my soul to reveal the darkness within. Panic surged through me, and I stumbled back, the flashlight's beam wavering as I tried to escape the shadow's grasp. It followed, relentless and unyielding, a reminder of the fears I could not outrun. Desperation took hold, and I turned to flee, forest a maze of shadows and light. The campfire's glow was a distant memory, swallowed by the night as I ran, the shadow a constant companion at my heels. Finally, I burst back into the clearing, the fire's warmth a welcome reprieve from the chill of the forest. My friends looked on, their faces etched with concern, unaware of the battle I had faced in the dark. The shadow lingered at the edge of the light, a silent sentinel, before melting back into the trees. I knew then that it would always be there, part of the night, part of me. As we settled back around the fire, the stories resumed, but the shadow's presence lingered, a haunting reminder of the fears we carry with us, hidden just beyond the light. And though the night wore on, I knew that the shadow in the trees would remain, a testament to the darkness that lies within us all. Campfire burned brightly, its flames a beacon in the enveloping darkness. We gathered around, eager for tales that would send shivers down our spines. The night was still, forest a silent witness to our gathering. It was then that someone mentioned him, camp leader who had vanished without a trace years ago. His name was whispered with a mix of reverence and fear. He had been a guiding light, mentor to many, till the day he disappeared, leaving behind only unanswered questions and a legacy of mystery. As the tale unfolded, the fire seemed to crackle with an otherworldly energy, as if the very air were charged with his presence. They said he had been a man of great wisdom, with a knack for knowing just what to say to ease a troubled mind. But one fateful night, he ventured into the woods and never returned. Some claimed he had been claimed by the forest, others whispered of darker forces at play. As the story wove its spell, I felt a chill creep over me, a sensation that we were not alone. The shadows beyond the firelight seemed to shift, and the wind carried with it a faint whisper, almost like a voice calling out from the void. My companions, too, began to notice strange occurrences. the rustle of leaves with no breeze to stir them, flicker of the fire casting shapes that danced like phantom. It was as if the camp leader's spirit lingered, watching over us from the shadows. A sense of unease settled over the group, our laughter fading into nervous silence. The forest, once a place of adventure, now felt like a realm of secrets, depth hiding the truth, camp leader's fate. Suddenly, the fire flared, casting a brilliant light that illuminated the clearing. In that moment, I saw him, figure standing at the edge of the woods, his form indistinct yet undeniably familiar. His eyes met mine, and I felt a surge of recognition, a connection that transcended the years. He was there, a guardian of the camp, a silent protector watching over those who had come after him. The realization brought with it a sense of peace, a reassurance that we were not alone in the darkness. As the fire's glow softened, the figure faded back into the night, leaving only the memory, his present. The tale of the ghostly camp leader had come to life, a reminder of the thin veil between the living and the spirit world. He sat in quiet contemplation, the fire's warmth a comfort against the chill of the unknown. The camp leader's legacy endured, his spirit a guiding light for those who dared to seek the truth. And as the night wore on, I knew that his watchful gaze would remain, a guardian of the campfire's glow. The moon hung low, casting an eerie glow over the crumbling facade of the old asylum. Its windows, like hollow eyes, stared out into the night, whispering secrets, past. We were a group of friends, drawn by the allure of the unknown, eager to uncover the truth behind the tales of haunting that clung to this forsaken place. With flashlights in hand, we crossed the threshold, the air thick with the scent of decay and forgotten memories. The asylum's corridors stretched out before us, a labyrinth of shadows and echoes. Our footsteps reverberated through the halls, a reminder of the lives that once filled these walls. As we ventured deeper, a sense of unease settled over us. The stories we had heard, spirits trapped by their suffering, of voices that cried out in the night, seemed to come alive around us. The air grew colder, and the very walls seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. Suddenly, the door behind us slammed shut with a deafening finality. Panic surged through our group as we realized we were trapped, the asylum's grip tightening around us. The shadows lengthened, and from the darkness, figures began to emerge, specters of the past, their faces etched with anguish and despair. They moved silently, their presence a chilling reminder of the torment they had endured. We stumbled backward, our flashlights flickering as if in fear, casting erratic beams that only heightened our terror. The spirits reached out, their eyes pleading, as if seeking release from their eternal prison. Desperation took hold as we searched for an escape, the asylum's corridors twisting and turning, leading us deeper into its heart. Spirits followed, a spectral procession that mirrored our every move, their whispers growing louder, a cacophony of sorrow and rage. In the depths of the asylum, we found a room untouched by time, its walls lined with the remnants of lives long lost. It was there, amidst the dust and decay, that we understood the truth. The spirits were not our enemy, but victims of a past that refused to let go. With newfound resolve, we faced the spectral assembly, our fear giving way to compassion. We spoke words of comfort, offering what solace we could to those who had suffered so greatly. Slowly, the spirits began to fade, their forms dissolving into the ether, leaving behind a sense of peace that permeated the air. As the first light of dawn broke through the asylum's windows, we found the door open once more. The asylum's hold finally relinquished. We stepped into the morning light. The weight of the night lifted from our shoulders. The abandoned asylum stood silent, secrets laid to rest. And as we walked away, I knew that the spirits we had encountered were finally free, their suffering eased by the compassion of those who dared to listen. The night was thick with anticipation, the air charged with an unsettling energy as the blood moon rose, casting its crimson glow over the forest. We were campers, drawn by the promise of adventure, unaware of the ancient rites that awaited us beneath the shadowed canopy. As the moon reached its zenith, a distant chant echoed through the trees, a haunting melody that stirred something primal within us. Compelled by curiosity, we followed the sound, our footsteps silent on the forest floor, until we reached a clearing bathed in the moon's eerie light. There, a gathering of locals stood in a circle, their faces obscured by hooded cloaks, their voices rising in unison to the rhythm of the night. At the center of the circle lay an altar, adorned with offerings of earth and bone, a tribute to an ancient spirit that demanded appeasement. Our presence went unnoticed, the ritual consuming their attention, but as the chant grew louder, a chill crept over me, a realization that this was no mere ceremony, but a pact with forces beyond our understanding. The blood moon watched from above, a silent witness to the unfolding rite. Suddenly, the leader of the ritual turned, his eyes meeting mine with a gaze that pierced the soul. The chant faltered, and the circle broke, their attention now fixed upon us, intruders in their sacred space. Fear gripped us as we understood the truth. We were not mere spectators, but potential offerings to the spirit they sought to appease. Panic surged through our group, and we turned to flee, the forest a maze of shadows and light. The chant resumed, now a pursuit, the locals moving with an unnerving grace, their intentions clear in the urgency of their steps. Branches clawed at our skin, the ground treacherous beneath our feet. We pressed on, driven by the instinct to survive. The blood moon loomed overhead, its glow a reminder of the fate that awaited us should we falter. In the chaos, we stumbled upon a path, a narrow trail that wound through the trees, leading us away from the clearing and the ritual that threatened to claim us. The chant faded into the distance, forest closing ranks behind us, a guardian of its own secret. Breathless and trembling, we emerged into the safety of our camp. The blood moon, now a fading memory in the night sky. Forest stood silent, its mysteries hidden once more beneath the veil of darkness. We vowed never to speak of the ritual. The memory of the blood moon, a haunting reminder of the thin line between the known and the unknown. And as dawn broke, casting its golden light over the world, I knew we had glimpsed something ancient and powerful. Force that would linger in our souls long after the night had passed. The night was serene, forest wrapped in a cloak of stillness as I drifted into slumber within the confines of my tent. The gentle rustle of leaves and the distant call of a night bird were the lullabies that eased me into dreams. Yet as the witching hour approached, a chill crept into my bones, and I awoke to an unsettling silence. Blinking into the darkness, I reached out, expecting to feel the familiar fabric of my tent. Instead, my hand met only the cool night air. Panic surged through me as I sat up, the realization dawning with a dreadful clarity. My tent had vanished, leaving me exposed beneath the vast, indifferent sky. Heart pounding, I rose to my feet, the moon casting a pale glow over the campsite. I was not alone in my plight. Shadows moved among the trees, figures emerging from the darkness, their faces etched with the same bewilderment, gripped. They, too, had awoken to find their shelters gone, stolen by some unseen force. We gathered in the clearing, a motley assembly of lost souls, drawn together by our shared misfortune. Whispers of disbelief filled the air, each voice a testament to the strangeness of the night. It was then that we heard it, a sound, faint and distant, like the echo of laughter carried on the wind. Compelled by a mix of fear and curiosity, we followed the sound, our footsteps hesitant on the forest floor. The trees stood like silent sentinels, their branches weaving a tapestry of shadows that danced in the moonlight. The laughter grew louder, a haunting melody that beckoned us deeper into the woods. As we pressed on, the forest seemed to close in around us, the path twisting and turning, leading us into the heart of the unknown. It was there, in a hidden glade, that we found them, our tents, arranged in a circle, their flaps fluttering in the breeze as if in mockery of our plight. But it was not the tents alone that held our attention. Within the circle stood figures, their forms indistinct, their presence a chilling reminder of our vulnerability. They watched us with eyes that gleamed in the darkness, their intentions unfathomable. A sense of dread settled over us, and we understood that we were not alone in the woods. Forest was alive with secrets, its depths harboring forces beyond our comprehension. We had stumbled into a realm where the rules of the world held no sway, and our presence was an intrusion. With a silent agreement, we retreated, leaving the tents and their spectral guardians behind. The path wound back through the trees, and as we emerged into the clearing once more, first light of dawn broke over the horizon, casting its golden glow over the world. We spoke little of what we had seen, the memory of the vanishing tents a haunting echo that lingered in our minds. The forest had revealed its mysteries, and we were left to ponder the thin line between reality and the unknown. And as we packed our belongings and prepared to leave, I knew that the woods would remain, a place of secrets and shadows, long after we had gone. The night was heavy with nostalgia as we gathered around the crackling campfire, its flames casting a warm glow on faces etched with memories. This was to be our last campfire, final farewell before life's currents carried us on separate paths. The forest, our longtime companion, stood silent and watchful, its shadows deepening as the night wore on. We shared stories of adventures past, laughter mingling with the smoke that curled into the starry sky. Yet, beneath the camaraderie lay an unspoken sorrow, a void left by the absence of one who should have been among us. His name was whispered with reverence, a friend lost to the woods, never to return. As the hour grew late, chill settled over the clearing, and the flames flickered, as if in response to an unseen presence. It was then that I felt it, a shift in the air, a sense of being watched. The laughter faded, replaced by a silence that pressed upon us like a shroud. From the corner of my eye, I glimpsed a figure standing at the edge of the firelight. My heart skipped, for it was him, our lost friend, his form wreathed in shadows, eyes reflecting the fire's glow. He stood as if caught between worlds, a specter bound to the forest that had claimed him. A murmur of disbelief rippled through the group, each of us grappling with the impossible sight before us. Yet as we watched, figure raised a hand in a gesture of farewell, a silent acknowledgement of the bond we had shared. Fire flared, casting a brilliant light that illuminated the clearing, and in that moment, I understood. Our friend had returned to join us one last time, drawn by the ties of friendship that even death could not sever. His presence was a comfort, a reminder that he would always be a part of us, woven into the fabric of our memories. As the fire's glow softened, figure began to fade, his form dissolving into the night like mist. We sat in silence, the weight of his departure settling upon us, yet tempered by the knowledge he was at peace. The first light of dawn crept over the horizon, painting the sky with hues of gold and rose. We rose from the campfire, our hearts heavy yet uplifted by the night's encounter. The forest stood as it always had, a guardian of secrets and stories, its depths echoing with the whispers of those who had walked its path. As we parted ways, I knew that the last campfire would endure in our hearts, a testament to friendship and the enduring spirit of those we hold dear. And as the forest faded into the distance, I carried with me the memory of our friend, ghostly presence that would forever light our way. The forest was a labyrinth of shadows, the trees whispering secrets as we ventured deeper into its embrace. We were campers, driven by the thrill of discovery, unaware of the ancient presence that awaited us. The sun hung low, casting long fingers of light that danced across the forest floor when we stumbled upon it, an old, cracked mirror, half buried among the roots of an ancient oak. Its surface was marred and weathered, yet it held an inexplicable allure, drawing us closer with its silent promise of revelation. We gathered around, peering into its depths, and what we saw chilled us to the bone. The reflections that stared back were not our own, but twisted, grotesque versions of ourselves. Each face bore the marks of hidden fears, The darkest corners of our souls laid bare upon the mirror's surface. My own reflection grinned with a malevolence that sent shivers down my spine. Its eyes hollow and accusing. A sense of dread settled over us, the air thick with an unseen weight. The mirror was no mere object, but a window into the soul, revealing truths we had long buried beneath layers of denial. It mocked us with its revelations, each crack a reminder of the fragility of our facade. One by one, my friends turned away, unable to bear the sight of their own fears made manifest. Forest seemed to close in around us, the trees leaning closer as if eager to witness our unraveling. The mirror's power was undeniable, force that stripped away pretense and left us exposed to its merciless gaze. Desperation clawed at me as I tried to look away. The reflection held me captive, its eyes boring into mine with an intensity that defied reason. It whispered of failures, of dreams unfulfilled, a litany of despair that threatened to consume me. In a moment of clarity, I understood the mirror's purpose. It was a test, a challenge to confront the darkness within and emerge stronger for it. With a surge of will, I tore my gaze from the glass. The spell broken, forest once more a sanctuary of shadows. We left the mirror behind, its surface reflecting only the trees and sky, silent guardian of the secrets it had revealed. The path wound back through the forest, and as we emerged into the fading light of day, I felt a sense of liberation, a newfound resolve to face the fears that had haunted me. The mirror in the woods remained, testament to the power of self-reflection, its cracked surface a reminder that even the darkest fears can be overcome. And as we returned to the warmth of the campfire, I knew that the experience had changed us all, leaving an indelible mark upon our soul. The night unfolded with an ethereal beauty. The stars scattered like diamonds across the velvet sky. We sat around the campfire, its warmth a welcome comfort against the cool evening air. Laughter and stories filled the space between us, weaving a tapestry of camaraderie as the forest stood silent and watchful. But as the hour grew late, a strange sound drifted through the tree. Haunting melody, soft and alluring, carried on the whispering wind. It was as if the very trees had found their voice, their song weaving through the night with an otherworldly grace. The melody wrapped around us, a siren call that stirred something deep within. One by one, we fell silent, our attention captured by the haunting tune that seemed to emanate from the heart of the forest. It was a song of longing and sorrow, a lament that resonated with the soul. As the melody swelled, I felt a strange compulsion, a pull that urged me to rise and follow the song into the depths of the woods. My friends, too, were entranced, their eyes glazed as if caught in a dream. We moved as one, leaving the safety of the campfire behind, our footsteps silent on the forest floor. The trees loomed tall around us, their branches swaying in time with the melody that guided our steps. The song grew louder, a symphony of voices that beckoned us deeper into the shadows. It was as if the forest itself had come alive, its heart beating in time with the haunting refrain. Yet beneath the beauty of the song lay an undercurrent of dread, a sense that we were being led to a fate from which there would be no return. Melody wove a spell around us, its power undeniable, drawing us ever closer to the source of its enchantment. We reached a clearing, bathed in the pale light of the moon, the trees standing like sentinels around us. The song reached its crescendo, a chorus of voices that filled the night with their mournful cry. It was then I saw them, figures shadowy and indistinct, emerging from the trees, their eyes aglow with an unnatural light. The realization struck with a chilling clarity. The song was a lure, a trap set by the spirits of the forest, seeking to claim us as their own. Panic surged through me, breaking the spell that held me captive. With a desperate cry, I turned and fled, urging my friends to do the same. The forest closed in around us, the melody fading into the distance as we stumbled back to the safety of the campfire. The trees stood silent once more, their song a memory that lingered in the cool night air. We huddled close, the warmth of the fire a balm against the chill of our encounter. The singing trees had revealed their dark secret, a reminder of the thin line between beauty and danger. And as the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, I knew we had narrowly escaped a fate woven into the haunting melody of the night. The forest was a tapestry of shadows and whispers, its ancient trees standing like sentinels under the pale moonlight. We were campers, drawn by the allure of the wild, eager to uncover its secret. As we wandered through the woods, laughter and camaraderie echoed among the trees, until we stumbled upon it, an unmarked grave, hidden beneath a canopy of leaves and time. The earth was disturbed, a patch of ground that seemed out of place in the serene landscape. Curiosity, that insidious companion, urged us to investigate further. With hesitant hands, we brushed away the leaves, revealing the forgotten resting place of a soul long lost to memory. As we stood in silence, a chill crept over us, the air growing heavy with an unseen presence. The forest, once a haven of tranquility, now felt charged with a malevolent energy. It was then that we heard it, a low moan rising from the depths of the earth, a lament for a life forgotten. The ground trembled beneath our feet, and a spectral figure emerged from the shadows, its form wreathed in sorrow and rage. The spirit's eyes burned with an intensity that pierced the soul, a silent accusation for the years of neglect and oblivion. Fear gripped us as we realized the gravity of our actions. We had disturbed a grave that was meant to be at peace, awakening a spirit bound by the chains of memory and vengeance. Forest seemed to close in around us, the trees leaning closer as if eager to witness the unfolding drama. Desperation took hold as we sought to appease the restless spirit, offering words of apology and regret. Yet, the spirit's wrath was unyielding, its presence a testament to the pain of being forgotten, the injustice of a life erased from history. In a moment of clarity, I understood what must be done. With trembling hands, we set about restoring the grave, marking it with stones and a whispered promise that its occupant would be remembered. As we worked, the spirit's anger seemed to abate, its form growing fainter, as if soothed by the acknowledgement of its existence. The forest stood silent once more, the air lightening as the spirit faded into the ether, its vengeance sated by the simple act of remembrance. We retreated to our camp, the weight of the night's encounter heavy upon us, yet tempered by the knowledge that we had set right a wrong long ignored. As dawn broke, casting its golden light over the world, I knew that the forgotten grave would endure, a silent reminder of the power of memory and the importance of honoring those who came before. And as we packed our belongings, forest whispered its secrets, the shadows holding the promise of peace for the soul we had awakened. The campfire crackled with a warmth that belied the chill creeping into the night air. We gathered around, a circle of eager faces, drawn together by the ancient ritual of storytelling. This campsite, nestled deep in the woods, held a peculiar tradition, one that whispered of a curse entwined with a tale told year after year. The story was passed down through generations, a tale that must be completed lest the curse take hold. As the firelight flickered, casting dancing shadows upon the trees, we began the story, each word a step deeper into the web of its enchantment. The tale unfolded, a narrative of mystery and dread, weaving through the night like a thread of... Yet as the hour grew late, fatigue tugged at our minds and our voices faltered, the story left unfinished. Laughter turned to nervous glances as the fire dimmed, its glow a reminder of the task left incomplete. It was then that the curse took hold. The air grew heavy, the forest around us shifting with a malevolent energy. One by one, we found ourselves ensnared in the grip of our deepest fears, each moment a waking nightmare that defied the boundaries of reality. For me, it was the suffocating darkness, a void that closed in, leaving me gasping for breath. I stumbled through the shadows, the forest a maze of terror, my heart pounding with the rhythm of my dread. The trees loomed tall, their branches reaching like skeletal fingers, eager to claim me. My friends, too, were caught in their own torments, their cries echoing through the night. chorus of despair that mirrored my own. We were trapped, prisoners of the curse, our fears made manifest by the unfinished tale. Desperation fueled our resolve as we fought to break free, the memory of the story our only hope. We gathered once more around the dying embers, our voices trembling yet determined, picking up the threads of the tale where we had left off. As the story reached its climax, the air seemed to lighten, the oppressive weight of the curse lifting with each word spoken. The fire flared, casting a warm glow that chased away the shadows, the forest returning to its tranquil state. With the final words, the curse was broken, our fears dispelled by the power of the completed tale. We sat in silence, the weight of our ordeal a reminder of the campfire's ancient magic, the importance of honoring tradition. As dawn's light crept over the horizon, we knew the story would endure, a testament to the bond between past and present, a reminder of the power of words to shape our reality. And as we prepared to leave, forest whispered its secrets, the shadows holding the promise of peace for those who dared to tell the tale. The campfire crackled, its flames casting flickering shadows that danced like phantoms among the trees. We sat in a circle, the night air thick with anticipation, as we spun tales of ghosts and ghouls, our voices mingling with the whispers of the forest. It was a ritual as old as time, communion with the unknown that both thrilled and terrified. As the stories wove their spell, I felt a prickling at the back of my neck, an instinctive awareness that we were not alone. My gaze drifted beyond the circle of light, into the impenetrable darkness that lay just beyond the fire's reach. It was then that I saw them, two glowing eyes, watching us with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. The eyes hovered in the shadows, unblinking and predatory, a silent reminder of the unseen world that lay beyond our understanding. I nudged my friends, pointing toward the darkness, and a hush fell over the group as they, too, saw the watcher in the dark. Our laughter faltered, replaced by a growing sense of unease. The stories we had shared, once mere flights of fancy, now seemed to echo with a sinister truth. The eyes remained fixed upon us, chilling presence that turned our tales of terror into a living nightmare. Panic surged through our ranks as we realized the gravity of our situation. We were being hunted, our every move scrutinized by the unseen watcher that lurked beyond the firelight. The forest, once a place of adventure, now felt like a trap, its shadows hiding dangers we could only imagine. Desperation took hold as we scrambled to extinguish the fire, our only source of comfort, now a beacon for the malevolent force that stalked us. The darkness closed in, the eyes drawing nearer, their glow a haunting reminder of the fate that awaited us should we falter. With our hearts pounding in our chests, we fled into the night, forest a maze of shadows and uncertainty. Branches clawed at our skin, the ground treacherous beneath our feet. We pressed on, driven by the instinct to survive. The eyes pursued us, a relentless presence that defied the boundaries of reality. Yet, as dawn's first light crept over the horizon, the watcher faded into the ether, leaving only the memory of its gaze to haunt our waking hours. We emerged from the forest, breathless and trembling, the weight of our encounter heavy upon us. The stories we had shared around the campfire had come to life, a reminder of the thin line between the known and the unknown. As we packed our belongings and prepared to leave, I knew we would never forget the watcher in the dark, a testament to the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil of night. And as the forest faded into the distance, I carried with me the memory of those glowing eyes, a haunting echo of the night that would linger in my soul.